Welcome to Michigan Biostatistics. Congratulations on your admission. My name is Mike Sweeney. I am a second-year PhD student in the department, and this is...
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela. I'm a second-year master's student, and I recently, as you, applied for the PhD here, and I was accepted, so I'm also coming as a PhD new student as of this incoming semester.
A round of applause for Daniela's acceptance.
All of us. Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about our perspective as students in the department. Maybe. Oh, we have to use the clicker.
Okay, there you go.
That is right. Do you want to go?
Okay, so the way we kind of divided this presentation is Michigan Biostats is more than just Michigan Biostats. We are embedded into the School of Public Health and, of course, in the University of Michigan, which is, as you know, located in Ann Arbor. So we will talk about like all of our experiences in those like institutions.
Okay. So briefly, we're going to talk about the different events for students in our department. So here on the left, we have our statistics for our department. There are 276 students. There are 124 staff and 41 faculty members as of 2022. There's academic support for students. There's study groups and library resources. We have a wellness and inclusion advocate, Jadima. She really works to make sure that students are doing well in department, mentally, physically, etc. We have computing support from Dan and Mike. They work with our package development, software development. They manage our high performance computing clusters, which you'll have access to as a Michigan Biostatistics student. There's opportunities for community engagement, such as StatCom, which we'll talk about briefly, the Biostatistics Student Association, professional development seminars, and Alumni of the Month seminars. There's student representation in departmental committees such as academic affairs, recruitment, conflict resolution, curriculum, DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, peer mentoring, and there's seminars and workshops for students, such as there's weekly seminars in the department, especially as of late as we have been doing a faculty search. We have speakers from all over the world all the time. There's graduate student working groups, and there's faculty lunches. And of course, as graduate students, we have listed the ones that have free food in red. And this is not an all-inclusive list. There are other things that are mentioned here. There's share with the chair sessions with our chair, Dr. Bramar Mukherjee. That's where students meet with Bramar and they talk about really whatever they want. There's BFF time, which stands for Biostat Faculty Focus Time, I think, where students meet with faculty in the department. So as you can see, we have a fairly large department with hundreds of students and about 40 faculty members, but our department really makes a concerted effort for students and faculty to interact with each other.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience. So I have been into multiple of the things that are listed here. Just to give you an example, this week, I think maybe on Wednesday, our wellness and inclusion, they organized something we call the multicultural game night. So it was from 5 to 7, we have food, we gather around, we play different games that we usually I'm not used to play. I'm from Colombia, so I know a certain like type of board game, so that was very fun. It gave me like, you know, I could like see other cultures and see what they play, so that's very nice. And it's on a Wednesday where we, you know, sometimes you will have a lot of classes, but that's a good thing to do, just to socialize, to just like a stress-free kind of like time, and it's very, very nice. I have also used a lot of the cluster and computing resources for either my classes or my research. I had no idea how to use the cluster at all before coming here. And Dana was very nice. He set up a meeting with me like 2 hours just to explain how to use the cluster and how to submit a job, how to know like if it is running or not. So that's very nice. You don't have to know these things, but it's important to know that there's like people here that are willing to help you understand how these things work. I have also, so I'm also part of a StatCom. I don't know if you have like heard of StatCom. It's an outreach program. It's completely volunteering. It's not engaged as a GSRA or GSI. It does not come with any funding, but I think it's a very good opportunity to just like put in practice a bit of what you have been learning and to give back to the community. So if you have time, I didn't do it for my first semester just because I wanted to see how I was gonna feel here in terms of like all of the classes that I had, plus my work. And I was like recently moving to the States, so I had like to manage a lot of things. But then when I like finally settle in and realize how much time do I have like free, you can decide for yourself whether you wanna like do this or not. But I think it's just good to know that there is this thing called StatCom that works not only for biostats, but like there's also other SPH students, and you can like, engage in different projects that will help you realize how to put in practice many things that you have been learning, how to work with other people not from biostats, and how to just like get back to the community. Recently I have been coming to more like seminars because I wanna start focusing on like what I wanna do for my dissertation. So I think that's a great idea to just like see how like what other professors have been working, what's the like research in certain topic, and that's just like a fun idea to just come and realize what other people have been working and how can I just put that into my own research or practice.
Personally, I am a strong endorser of the study groups for your first year courses. It's a really great way to learn more about the courses, and it's really great to learn from each other and make friends. Also, that's not listed on here, I am an admissions ambassador for the School of Public Health, and that's a great way to get to meet people, get involved with the School of Public Health, and go to events and stuff like that.
So as we mentioned, Biostats department is embedded into the School of Public Health. We didn't list all of the resources the School of Public Health had because there are many, like we cannot even list them. We just like included here some that are very important. I'm gonna talk about the writing lab, which is something that I'm currently using a lot. If you decide to come here, you will have to take 699 most probably, which is in your second year. This is a class in which you have projects where you applied the things that you have learned in the past 3 semesters. And for those projects, you have to write a report. English is not my first language, so I was always kind of like, maybe I'm not writing as good as I should be writing. So it's always good to, at least for me, for every report, I go to the writing lab. Kirsten read your report with you. She gives you advice of like everything. English, grammar, the tone, whether you are convincing, whether you are repeating yourself, different kind of words that you may use, if it is like formal enough. So those things, at least for me, are very important because I have never had a class in like how to write a report, not even in English. So it's very valuable, and I can tell you, you can see the difference of like my report before going to the writing lab and after going to the writing lab. Things is presentable, at least.
As well as the writing lab, there's the SPH Career Center. So once you're finished here, whether it be at the end of your master's or end of your PhD, you can go to the SPH Career Center and they can give you more information about how to land a job, things about salary, interview, stuff like that.
Writing your CV.
Yep. So we have some statistics and a little more information about Michigan on this slide. We are by Times Higher Ed, we are rated the top public university in the United States of America. We're rated number 3 by U.S. News. There's a wealth of personal resources for students. We have CAPS, which is a university-wide resource for mental health. There's GEO, which is the Labor Protection International. GEOs for Labor Protection. There's the International Center, and there's also Student Legal Services. There's 3 large gyms. There's the Intramural Sports Building. There's the North Campus Recreational Building, and there's currently a facility on the Palmer Field while the Central Campus Recreation Building is under construction. And there's every intramural sport you can want. Here on the bottom, we have a picture of, as you can see, Michigan Quidditch. If you have any Harry Potter fans, I am not. I don't really know what that is, sorry. But yeah, we do have our own Quidditch team, but don't ask me about it, clearly. And
just to add something, if you are an international student, the university has an international center, and they help you with every possible question you have, from taxes, which I don't know how to feel, so they help me with that, to like immigration status, I-20, my visa, whether I can like fly like outside the US, across the US, like just to make sure I'm like doing everything right and legal. So they will help you with any question you have regarding your immigration status.
Yeah, and the sports culture here is insane. There's Michigan football games, there's basketball, there's pretty much every sport you can want. You can get tickets to. I think that's it for the slide.
Yeah.
So here in Ann Arbor, we're 40 minutes from downtown Detroit. The closest airport is DTW, which is about 30 minutes away. Many of you may have taken the Michigan Flyer to come here this weekend. That's a really great service for students. One of the great things about living in a college town is you have a bunch of like big city amenities in this smaller size city. Michigan Flyer, I always take that to Detroit. It's like $10 or $15 each way, which is much cheaper than Uber. We have a train station that connects to Chicago. The weather is iffy, for lack of a better word, maybe. Bring a big jacket. Bring a swimsuit. Bring everything in between. The summers you can get up to like 90. In the winters it can get down to below 0. So you're really going to get a wide array of temperatures while you're here in Ann Arbor. We're a smallish town with big city amenities. As a University of Michigan student, you have access to those 3 big gyms that I listed before. You also have access to the Ann Arbor bus system, which can take you all around campus. Not all around campus, all around the entire city. It's a great place to live. Nisha lists us as the 4th best city to live in America, 3rd best public school system. And we have a very, very good public library system. Tons of parks, tons of trails. Anything else, Danielle?
I don't drive. I don't like to drive. So I can advocate for the Ann Arbor bus system. I think it's very, like, it can take you anywhere. It's very easy to understand how it works. You don't have to pay anything with your M card, so that's good. I think most of the students here do not have a car, do not own a car, and they just like use the bus transportation, and it's very good. So I can advocate definitely for that. I'm a big fan of the summer here. It's absolutely incredible. I love it. I'm not such a fan of the winter. I've been growing to love it bit by bit. It definitely, please bring a big jacket and like winter shoes. And what else? There's a lot of parks. There's a lot of like a good restaurants. You can get like a lot of variety. There's like also tons of things to do, just like going to restaurants. There's like a lot of concerts here. You can also go, there's 2 theaters. There's good like movies that they play often. There's, I would say that even though it's like a small city, it's a college town, there's still a lot of entertaining that you can find. So it will definitely not be boring. And it has like, I like to describe Ann Arbor, whenever I describe Ann Arbor to my family, it's like, it has all of the good qualities of the city without most of the bad qualities of the city. So you can have a lot of entertainment, different food. It's cheaper than living in a big city. But then you don't get, the chaos, the traffic, like tons of people walking down the street. The noise is very calm and peaceful. So it has all of the qualities of a good city without all of the chaotic things of a big city.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. One of my favorite parts of Ann Arbor is that we have a very vibrant downtown, and we also have very bucolic areas such as those trails and parks that you really have the best of both worlds. I'm from the suburbs of New York City, so I really enjoy that dichotomy. And another thing I'd like to add is that I personally do have a car here in Ann Arbor, but I take the bus to school anyway just of how easy it is.
And I think that's all. That's just like some picture about like activities we have done. And you are welcome to any questions you may have. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, what is the balance like between schoolwork and like your personal having fun lives? And also between like if you have a GSRA job or some sort of job.
So yeah, I will take this question. I started as a GSI and then I moved as a GSRA. My first semester here was like definitely like finding that balance and just kind of navigating the program in Ann Arbor and just like grad school. So the first semester was very different, but once you like settle in and know how things are working and like the pace of the classes and where you have exams and how much like you need to put into these like different activities, I think it gets way, way better. I'm an advocate for mental health. I think you need to take a rest. So what I try to do like nowadays, it doesn't always work because there's definitely weeks where you have more work than others. So weeks of the exams, you will definitely have more work than like 2 weeks previous. So for those weeks, it's very hard. But other than that, I try to, like after like 9 p.m. probably not work and try to not work over the weekends and just like go to different activities during like in the SPH and just like with my friends. Because I think it's very, very important to balance life. It's gonna be at least 2 years of your life and you wanna enjoy them, not only because you are like growing professionally, but also just take it as a time to grow personally.
I'd also like to mention that we have a student panel coming up. I think this might be a good time to just transition into that, unless there's any specific questions about like Ann Arbor as the city. While we wait, we have another question I guess we can address now.
I did have a question about like the city and campus in general. I don't know if any of you ride a bike at all, or if you know, I ride my bike at my undergrad all over the place. How bike friendly is the city and the campus?
Shamik, I think you have a bike, right?
Very bike friendly. You have lanes dedicated to bikes, so you should be able to. And also all of the public buses have bike carriers in front of them, so that's what I do usually. Like I split my ride between a bus ride and a bike ride, so that should also be fine.
Also, any questions in general, since I think we've unofficially started the student panel. So anything you want to hear from the students?
I have 2 questions, if that's allowed. But the first is more about Ann Arbor. So both of y'all said, and I don't know about the third member who, I don't know what your name is, I'm sorry, but
Shumik.
I can't, anyways. Y'all aren't from Ann Arbor or from Michigan. And I go to a school out of state from where I grew up, and I wasn't prepared for the fact that like some of the culture was kind of different, and not in bad ways, just in ways that surprised me. So I wonder if y'all have anything to say about kind of like the experience of living here, and not in terms of like what you can do in Ann Arbor, but kind of like what the vibe is, if that's possible.
I'll answer that. Well, everyone can answer that, but I'll start. I think one of the great things about Ann Arbor is that this is a college town. You're going to be, if you decide to come to Michigan, which I hope you do, but if you come to Ann Arbor, you're going to be moving to a city where there are a lot of young professionals that are moving to the city for the same reason that you are. This city has a huge population of young people and a huge population of people from all over the world. So I don't know if there's really like a specific, I know we're in the Midwest, but I don't know if we're like a model Midwest city, since we have people from all over the world and we have a bunch of young people, and I think that's a really great advantage to Ann Arbor. And I don't, personally, I'm from New York. I didn't really think I experienced like a big culture shock when I came here. Anyone else?
Well, as I said before, I'm from Colombia, so coming into Ann Arbor was the first time I was moving into the States. So for me, there was a definitely cultural shock, maybe for different reasons, but I think it's in a good way. I mean, as Mike mentioned, there's tons of international students, so you will have and encounter many different cultures, and that's just something that I really love. I enjoy to just like talking to people and getting to know how life is in different places, and just going grab some food. We have gatherings and someone just cooks something that is like very from their region. So that's something that I like, and that's the kind of like cultural shock that I was looking for, because it's just like it embraces me to learn more from like many different places, not just from where I am. And I do agree, you will encounter many young people just like you with probably similar goals. So it's easy to find someone who relates to your lifestyles, and probably you will find, because it's such a big school, you will definitely find people who relates to your hobbies or what you want to do with the future and so on.
And then I did say I had a second question, greedy of me. But I also am curious about, obviously grad school is different from undergrad. I'm wondering for those first 2 years of coursework, how you felt that transition was, like if it was harder than your classes in undergrad, if there was something particularly surprising about it, like kind of what that transition academically was like.
My answer to that is probably biased. I think all of our answers probably are. My undergrad major is applied math computer science. So I was used to doing a lot of projects outside of class that took a long time. Coming to grad school, I would say there was definitely less coursework for me specifically. I would also say like the material was a lot harder, and I feel like transitioning from a project-based computer science major to exam-based courses like Biostatistics 101, which you'll be taking in your first year courses, was a difficult transition for me specifically, but I'm interested to hear what the other panelists have to say.
Thanks, Mike. So I came in with an MS. My undergrad and graduate degrees were in statistics, so I think for me, the shift was more towards having to work in an applied degree as compared to a more theoretical and computational degree. I think for the first 2 years, all of us have to go through coursework regardless of whether you're an MS student or a PhD student. I would say the assignments are probably a step up in terms of both intensity as well as frequency from your undergrad courses. That being said, I think the department's really friendly to individual needs, in the sense that if there's like an assignment you can't make on time, professors are usually very graceful with extra time, and office hours are also great. So I haven't seen, like, sure, people struggle with coursework at times, but I don't think that's like a persistent thing. It does go away with time as long as you're willing to ask for help. So yeah.
Okay, we have a question asking, how would you describe the academic environment within the program? And with such a big cohort, is it easy to navigate around resources and network with faculty?
So I'll speak to networking with faculty. I would definitely say it is quite easy to network with faculty. I think I maybe briefly mentioned this on one of the slides. I think I would say our department makes it a consistent effort for students in our big cohort to have interaction with all the faculty here. We have a big cohort of students, and I think Bermar tweeted that we have 7 new faculty coming in. So we're going to be increasing our faculty too, so our big family is going to get even bigger. So there's BFF time, which is where students meet with faculty and like groups of like 1-on-3 during the semester, just to chat about literally whatever they want. There's no specific topic. There's something called collaborative faculty lunches. That's where that's where a professor takes a group of about 5 to 7 students to a restaurant, and that's where they go. I think the intent of the department is to talk about research, but I don't think that normally happens. I think it's just to go to the restaurant and chat. Yeah, and I would definitely say our department does its best to encourage faculty-student interaction.
Regarding how to like navigate the program, because it's a big cohort, our cohort is also pretty big, and I do agree that the department like made a lot of efforts to accommodate a big cohort. So for example, instead of having just like one office hours, now you have multiple office hours to accommodate for like different schedules and like multiple people coming into office hours, as well as the study groups. I guess like a few years ago there was just like only one or maybe two study groups per class. Now we have like 4 or 5, and you can like see how like that accommodates more people. And I also think that I cannot speak for all of the faculty members because I have not met them all, but at least the ones that I have encountered, they are very friendly and they are willing to like help you and answer your questions. I had a lot of doubts whether like to apply to a PhD or what to do with my life, and I just like talked to many faculty members, just starting by sending an email, and they will reply, and even maybe they are not the right person for you for answer that specific question, they will still reply and help you like to, I don't know, email someone else or like talk to talk to other faculty member, talk to a staff. So I think as long as you are also willing to put in the effort of like meeting faculty members and like engaging in class, you will encounter many faculty members. I would advise you to like, since you like, if you decide to come here, which I hope you do, since like the beginning of the semester and like the first classes you're gonna take, just like try to engage a lot in classes, because that will be your first, that will be the first thing to like meet a faculty member. Just like I'll ask a lot of questions, and if you feel like you're struggling, just ask for help, because the department will provide help if you are struggling. And if you want to meet faculty members, make sure to go to all of the departmental events or the ones you can attend, because there's definitely a ton of opportunities to meet faculty members and like learn more about the research and the labs they have. Many faculty, many seminars, and go to the BFF time, attend to the faculty lunches, and so on.
Hi, I was wondering about the cost of living in Ann Arbor. How far does the stipend go, and how much do students typically spend on like rent and stuff?
Yeah, that's probably the most important question outside academics. I can tell you based off of current standards that, and again, these numbers are subject to change based off of next year, but as of now, assuming you don't have a family to support or childcare expenses, the stipend that we get as full-time, I mean GSRs and GSIs, where they're taking care of your tuition and paying you a stipend, that's more than enough when you're willing to share an apartment. So I have 2 roommates. We have a 3-bed, 2-bathroom kind of situation. There are people who decide to split a 2-bed, 2-bath kind of thing. For them, the stipend's a pretty healthy one, I would say, in terms of living expenses, food expenses. If you have like stuff that you're fond of doing and hobbies and stuff like that, you'll still save a little of your stipend. I can give you my figures. So for example, my current living situation, it's a little better than average because the denominator is 3, but my current living rent, utilities, Wi-Fi, telephone, all of that together is like 28% of my current stipend. You can throw in another, let's say, $500 on top of that for your food expenses. In addition to that, that still leaves you with like a little more than $1,000 each month, where you have a little bit of breathing space. I used to own a car at some point, so a bit of that went into down payments for cars, but even then I did manage to save a decent amount. So yeah.
My experience is a bit different from Shumik's. I have a 1-bedroom by myself. I live in Hidden Valley Club Apartments, which is South Ann Arbor. It's about 2 miles away, so I'm not really within a walking distance of campus. My rent plus utilities is $13.30 a month. My stipend covers that. I'm very happy with it, and I'm from New York, so I love the cost of living here.
So since Ann Arbor is a college town rather than a metropolitan area, What resources do master's students here who wish to enter industry use for their internship and job search?
Um, so I believe the question was, since Ann Arbor is a college town, what do master students, what resources do they use for internships and stuff? So master students get internships outside of Ann Arbor very frequently. For example, a student in our cohort, Gracie, actually many students in our cohort get internships after their first year at Eli Lilly, which is in Indiana. And I believe Eli Lilly pays for your expenses to live there. And actually, Gracie got offered a job after her first year of internship, and she'll be going there as she finishes her master's. So regarding internships, I would say our master's students get internships outside of Ann Arbor very frequently. And I believe they're very happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, in addition to job postings that the department sends out at pretty frequent intervals, Biostats is a really strong community in the industry sector. So you'll always meet individuals who've graduated from this department and gone on to industry positions at various companies. It could be the tech sector, it could be healthcare, for example. So being able to network with those individuals is great. Your advisor, your academic advisor, or they could be your dissertation advisor. They'll also have students who've graduated from this program and gone on to industry positions. So being able to make those connections is also great. With the internship landscape is changing, most of them are becoming sort of hybrid or even virtual internships now. So you might look at a situation where you're interning for a company based out of California, but you don't even have to move. What's nice is they pay you a little bit of housing allowance, so that helps with your relocation cost as well if needed. So in general, finding internships isn't theoretically a hard job, but you do have a large cohort coming in, and those positions of internships are still pretty finite. So there's a competition there, but as far as finding positions is concerned, it's not a hard one.
Yeah, I mentioned Eli Lilly, and I think our students also get internships at like Regeneron, Reddit, Facebook, Google, stuff like that. So outside of the world of biology too. Amazon.
So earlier it was mentioned that the qualifying exam isn't really meant to weed people out. Do you get the idea that people really get weeded out a lot in like classes or the quals or anything like that?
I will be taking the qualifying exam in 2 months and 5 days, but who's counting? So I can't really speak to that yet, but I think historically, you can probably answer that best, but I think the vibe is that it's not to weed you out. I think it's to reinforce the first year materials. And they keep changing the format. So we only have a 1-day test, 4 hours, 6 questions, thank you. There used to be 2 tests, like it used to be a 2-day test. It was the first a theoretical test, like a math test, and then the second day was like an applied test where you had to like do some analysis in R or something like that. But now it's just a 1-day, 4 hour, 6 question theoretical test. And I don't think the purpose is to weed anyone out. I think most people pass it. Hopefully I do. Yeah, but I don't think the department's trying to weed anyone out.
All right, thanks.
Stephen and I were part of the same study group when we were taking quals. I think that's really important when you are taking quals.
I had a really good study buddy, so it helped.
Same. So yeah, I think I don't want to use the word weeding in general, but there's a high bar for selection once you move from being an MS candidate to a PhD candidate. But the point of your quals is not to set the bar even higher. The point is to make sure that you have a good grasp of what you've studied as an MS candidate. So I do recognize that we had an easier quals than average because we were taking it during the pandemic. So So ours was like a 40-minute calls, not a 4-hour calls. And it was an interview-based thing, so it was a different structure, but even when we were preparing for that, the impression we got was that the calls committee wants you to pass. And I don't know if this was on any of the material you've covered, but they do set questions before the test, obviously, but they don't decide upon a pass or fail criteria right off in the beginning. They do have like some rough thumb rules, but they look at the entire spectrum of students performing and then decide on what's good enough or what's not. So it's really adaptive.
I just want to add to what Shomik said. I think the way professors grade quals is very different for the way they grade like exams for a class. It's, as he said, I think at least that's how it was explained to us, and I believe that's how it's gonna be. For example, if in an exam you like forgot a 2 or like a minus, something like that, you will point the doctor and someone will let you know like you forgot that. I think it quals, because it's like 6 questions and you only have 4 hours, and I'm assuming they are long questions. They are like what they want to figure out with our answers is not that they are like extremely perfect to the point like you get the exact value, rather that you like know the method and know how to answer the question if you were given enough time. Any other question?
When it comes to submitting jobs to the cluster, is there a restriction on the type of jobs that you can submit? Do they need to be for your biostats coursework? Can it be outside of that?
I don't know, but I'm gonna say that I think they should be for your biostat either coursework or for your GSRA. I do think, because Dan explained that to me, that we have access to the biostat cluster, but I think we also have access to like UMich kind of cluster. So maybe you could use that for other things that are not related to coursework or GSRA. Sometimes a student need more cluster space because their simulation takes like longer to run or something like that. But if you're working with a faculty member and they know that issue, they will like, let Dan know so it doesn't become a problem.
Thank you.
Do you have dedicated offices, and are they near the faculty offices?
Funded students get office space. It's normally not a private office. You're in a office with like maybe a bunch of other students, and you have like your own cubicle. Most of those are on the 4th floor of SPH2, which are by the faculty offices, but sometimes people get redistributed elsewhere, such as like on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, or... Yeah, I don't know if we're taking them around SPH2 though. But yeah.
If you don't get an office because you're not funded at the beginning, there are also a lot of like empty study spaces across SPH 1 or 2, and there are a lot. I have never ever in my life seen them like all filled at the same time. So you can also access them. You just have to reserve them at the beginning of the semester or like on a weekly basis. But there's definitely enough space in SPH 1 and 2 to find a space to work where you can like actually focus for like 2 hours.
So like as someone coming from undergrad into the PhD program and like I don't have a lot of like research experience and don't know exactly like what subfield I'm interested in going into. So how do you get exposure to like different areas of research, because like the GRA positions aren't like rotating? So yeah, like how do you get exposure to different research areas?
I'm gonna answer part of that. You can also please answer. I think it works with your GSRA. That's one of the types of exposures that you have. But also when you start taking upper level classes, which are like I think 830 or like the 800 level classes, you will get more in depth into different subjects. So that's also a way to explore more about it. With the upper level classes, the difference that at least I have encountered so far is that they are more project based. So instead of like having an exam, you will actually have to encounter like, you know, as if it were like like your dissertation at least or something like that. So you get more in hands of like, how is it to work in this field? So classes are also like a good way to like kind of figure out whether you like this topic or not.
Another thing I'll mention is that some professors in our department have open lab meetings where like they'll have lab meetings with the grad students and like other students can attend to see what they're doing and stuff like that. BFF time is a great way to meet, or collaborative faculty lunch is a great way to meet with the professor and see what they're doing and see if that might be of interest to you. Anything else to add?
This is from my personal experience. When I joined the program, I had no research experience, so to speak. Part of your, assuming this is a GSRA position we are talking about, part of your training will also involve learning how to research, including being able to survey the right kind of literature, being able to find the right kind of papers that pertains to your research. Advisors here are fairly hands-on with younger students, so it shouldn't be an issue in terms of gaining experience on how to research. There's the capstone course, which is $699, which is sort of geared towards accumulating all the knowledge that you get over 1 or 2 years and being able to write a paper that's fairly off publishable standards, if not off an exact publishable standard. In addition to that, we have Thursday seminars, which for me were a great way to understand different areas of biostats research. We host faculty pretty much every week, maybe even 2 at times, and being able to listen to, I mean, very few people understand most of the talks. I understood maybe like 10% when I started. It's maybe at 15 now, but in general, you do get better at understanding what the general scientific problem is, and the speakers here are fairly friendly and accessible. So all of that does contribute to your growth as an independent researcher. Yeah. Also, were you at BDSI?
I know I mentioned like official things like BFF time and faculty lunches, but I think in our department, if you're interested in what someone is doing, just email them, and I think they'd be happy to meet with you. Like you can just schedule time and chat with them.
I have kind of a practical question. What's the deal with health insurance for students?
So that's a great question. Healthcare is part of your funding package. If you're a fully funded student, you get baseline healthcare, dental, and vision, I'm pretty sure. And you can pay for more expensive options. For example, I got my wisdom teeth taken out in January, so I went up an option, and I pay like $15 a month more for dental insurance, and I was able to save like $1,000 on my wisdom teeth removal. But healthcare is part of your financial package. And I think the healthcare here is great. You have access to Michigan medicine, doctors, stuff like that, and I highly like it.
Thank you.
So, one big question for y'all. So, what made you decide on the University of Michigan versus the other programs?
I guess I'll go first. I'd say I have 2 big reasons for why I chose Michigan Biostatistics. The first one would be its reputation and its reputation with my particular research interest, statistical genetics. It has a really great reputation overall, Michigan Biostatistics. But I know there'd be a ton of faculty here I could work with that were in my research interest. And I would say the second main reason is that when I interviewed here and I met all the faculty and stuff, the people here were just really nice people. And I think, forget academic reputation, I think you're going to be moving somewhere where you're going to be spending years of your life. I think you should be cognizant of the fact that you should enjoy the people you're around. who they are as human beings and stuff like that. And I think I really felt like I could be at home here with the faculty here, and I think that was a success.
I decided to come here mostly because of the same reason, just academic reputation. And also one big factor for me was I didn't know what kind of research I wanted to do at the beginning. So just like having a lot of faculty members that work in the very different areas, and they also have like a lot of classes to take. That was like for me a big factor, because since I didn't know what to do, that will just like get me enough experience to actually decide what I wanted to do for my PhD. And then I decided to stay for my PhD. I think for the second reason, it just because I firmly believe I have a supportive community of peers, friends, faculty members, staff who want me to succeed not only in my academic achievements, but also like in my personal achievements, which is very important for me. I'm an international student, so it's very different from what I would have at home. And it was very important for me to feel like I could be at home here. And I think faculty members and staff make a big difference, but also the students who decide to come here, they are like very, very friendly, and I'm sure you will encounter and build a community that want you to succeed not only in your classes, but also in your personal life.
Well, they think, Shomik, how mad are you at me that I'm not a Harry Potter fan? Uh-oh.
Can I just add to that? Yes. So the last question, I think the department's really big on collaborative research, and I think that's not something that I was completely aware of in the sense of like how much value it holds for me. But being able to interact with, let's say, a group of clinicians or a group of economists or a group of computer scientists sitting in the Department of Biostats is a very unique experience. I'm not sure if so I have friends at other universities and departments of biostats. Very few departments are truly interdisciplinary the way this one is. Most faculty, I think all faculty members, I've never come across one who isn't, are very encouraging of collaborative research, be it with the schools of engineering, the medical school, or even the stats department if you're working on something which is a little more theory heavy. As Daniela said, we have a really large pool of faculty members. So, and this happened for me personally. When I first joined, I was working on a genetics project, but it turned out I just wasn't good at it. So I wanted to leave the group that I was working with, and I was fortunate enough in being able to be matched to an advisor who is now my current dissertation advisor. And it was a very easy shift. No one was upset about, there were no bruised egos. There was no work lost. I think it was a pretty smooth transition, and I'm confident it would be the same for you as well if you joined. It's a really big department. It's a fairly warm department as well. I know those two things don't go together all the time, but here and I'm not just selling Michigan Biostats here, I do believe this when I say that the department tries to take care of its students a lot.
Okay, so now I think we'll just take a moment to get the faculty to line up in here and give a brief introduction, and then we'll move back into the other room for lunch.
Just shut this off.
I'm originally from Michigan, so this is not quite, but almost my hometown. I've been a research professor here for over 20 years, and I work in statistical genetics. I originally worked in cell biology, so if any of you are coming over from a more biological side and want to talk about that switch, be glad to talk to you.
I already introduced myself in the morning, Hui Jiang, here for 11 years doing bioinformatics and computational statistics.
Hello, I'm Xiang Zhou. I'm an associate professor in the department. I have been here for 9 years, mostly developing methods for genome-wide association studies, single cell, and spatial transcriptomics.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Song. I'm professor of department. I joined the department January 2008. This is 14th or 11th year. Oh, 15th year. I cannot calculate that. But anyway, I've been here for a long time. And before I joined the department, I was a faculty at University of Waterloo in Canada. And so I spent a 1 year sabbatical leave here, 2002 and 2003. And I basically had a 1 year job interview in the department. And the department is so nice to hire me to join this great department, biostatistics. So in terms of my research interests, for the methodology research, I work quite a bit on data integration, correlated data analysis, including like longitudinal data and spatial temporal data. And I also work a little bit on the high-dimensional statistic methods. In terms of application, I work quite a bit the nephrology, like kidney disease, and also the nutritional sciences and environmental sciences, where we're trying to understand how environment exposure affects our health outcomes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rod Little. I've been around a lot longer than Peter has. So, I came to the department in 1993 as the chair, and so I've been here nearly 30 years now. Never really wanted to leave. And I have a joint appointment as a research professor in the Institute of Social Research. My research interests are in the analysis of data with missing values and survey research, particularly Bayesian methods for handling survey samples. So welcome to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm Phil Boonstra. I'm a faculty member here. I'm interested in problems related to data integration. I also work a lot with people at the Cancer Center and other folks who do research related to ECMO, which is like a respiratory support mechanism.
I've talked to you, but I'll tell you about my research. So I'm Kelly Kidwell, associate professor. I'm interested in the design and analysis of clinical trials, in particular sequential multiple assignment randomized trials for rare diseases, for chronic diseases, some in oncology, mental health, and pain. And then we're going to have a staff, and then we'll ask the students to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nicole Fennick. I've been in the department 17 years now, and I am academic program coordinator. Before I worked, program manager, sorry. Before I worked at Biostat, I worked at Rackham for 5 years, so I'm pretty familiar with their processes too. And so if you have any questions for me, please get in touch with me. I'd be happy to chat with you.
Hi, I'm Mandy Larson. I'm the department admin here. And you will get to know my email address and my office pretty well. I'm a great resource for anything really in the department and anything you guys need around anywhere. I also am part of planning all of those great parties that Bramar talked about beforehand. So nice to meet you all, and I'm here if you need anything.
Say your name and then like the program you're in maybe. Okay. And if you want to talk about what you're working on, but you don't have to.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Tucker. I am a first year PhD student in the department.
Hi everyone, my name is Xueting Tao. I'm a second year master's student in the department.
Hi everyone, I'm Raywen Zhou, and I'm also a second year master's student from Biostatistics.
Hi everyone, my name is Yaxuan Huang. I'm a first year master's student in the department.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm a second year master's student and I work with Kelly.
Hi again, I'm Mike. I'm a second year PhD student and I currently work with Laura.
Hi, I'm Malcolm. I'm a second year PhD student.
Hi, I'm Daniela. I'm a second year master's student.